What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. This video is not sponsored, these are my thoughts, personal opinions and experiences with the product. And today we have the ATK F1 Ultimate Edition. Before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. Inside you got the mouse and the 8K wireless receiver fitted in this foam piece. And in the base box, that's where you'll find the accessories. So you got a warranty certificate, instruction manual, rated USB-C cable, very nice and bendy, 2 sets of mouse skates, and a set of grip tapes that match the color of the mouse. This is a neat set of tapes because it includes cutouts to use where your palm comes into contact with the mouse. And that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. And before we go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. There are 3 variations in the ATK F1 series. You got the F1 Pro, which is the standard version, the F1 Pro Max, which is the same thing with a bigger battery, and the F1 Ultimate Edition, which we have today. This edition includes the 8K wireless receiver inside the box. If not, it would be an additional purchase. It has what they call the Port 3950 Ultra sensor, which has features that I wouldn't say is very significant, but I'll share more about it later. And this version of the mouse has the lightest weight of just 38 grams. Most recently partnered with esports pro Valorant team Leviathan just this year, which got me very excited because that's one of my most favorite Valorant teams. But that aside, I'm sad to say that this mouse is pretty average. Designed with a right-handed symmetrical shape, a lightweight build of just 38 grams, the Ultimate Edition is available for a price of $89.99. I would say that this is a mouse that looks a lot better on the internet than it does in person. Simple looking mouse with a nice use of a full black scroll wheel, black side buttons, and base on a white mouse. I like that they kept the logo on the back in a clear white to blend in with the color. If not, it would be too distracting with the design. The design looks very basic in person and the materials look kinda bad. There is no problems with the build on my unit. Mouse buttons, side buttons, and scroll wheel are very well fitted in the build. No creaking or flexing in the sides or the base of my unit, except that the power button rattles when you shake it, which is odd because this is the last part you would expect to be loose. And it is very annoying because you can hear it when you move your mouse. The finish on the bottom side of the mouse is terrible. I swear I've never seen a finished product look this unfinished. Part of the rim around the base is in gloss black and part of it is unfinished polishing of plastic. It just got me wondering, like, how did this happen? Something like this really should not happen. Now before I get into more detail with the shape and how it feels with my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. This mouse is designed with medium to small hand sizes in mind. The shape is an interesting one. It has nice side curves with a flat out rear end, and the curves don't give me the feeling of being locked in, and that can either be a good or bad thing depending on what you prefer. I would say what's interesting is the profile of this shape, and the best way to put it is that the front half is a claw focus shaped mouse and the back half is a mid-arm universal shape. This translates to good palm support, relaxed comfort when you wrap your fingers around the mouse, and you get a good extension of upper palm support up to the joint of your fingers. Well, depending on your hand size. Then you got this front angle that goes all the way down, and the mouse buttons are pretty deep too, so you can actually feel the curves right up to here. Now this part is a reference to help people visualize different grip styles on the ATK F1 Ultimate with reference to my hand size. The angle of the mouse buttons makes this mouse feel pretty good with a regular and relaxed claw grip. Aggressive claw grip not so much because it's a bit too much of a high angle from the midpoint of the mouse unless you have large hands. A palm grip feels kinda weird with a shape like this because the thumb goes pretty high up towards the middle and drops at a steep angle. So this feels a little awkward in the hand when running a palm grip. And for a fingertip grip, it's not a shape I would use with a fingertip grip style because the rear end of the shape flares out pretty wide and you don't get much freedom of movement without the mouse knocking into the sides of your inner palm. Stated weight on the website is 38 plus minus 2 grams, and on my unit with the skates off, it comes in at 38.8 grams. All editions of the mouse have what they call an ice feel coating, and the best way to describe it is just like this wise reviewer once said.
Balls. Not my balls. Sorry, children.
Not my balls, not anyone's balls, but ping pong balls. You see, with ping pong balls, it's not slippery at all. It's kind of smooth and grippy at the same time. Yes, not his balls, not anyone's balls, but ping pong balls is right. It's not too bad. It's decent enough for coating on a gaming mouse, but it is very smooth though, which if you have dry hands may be a bit of a problem. These have Omron Optical switches. I like Omron Opticals, but the experience here is quite the opposite of my experience with Omron Opticals in other mice. They work fine, sound snappy with the clicks, but they are on the heavier side, and it feels like you need quite a bit more force compared to other mice. A little bit of pre-travel, but quite a noticeable amount of post-travel with the design, and that makes the clicks come off quite sluggish with the feeling of long travel in each click. It's just not the same lightweight feel that makes Omron Opticals enjoyable in other mice. On the crispy meter, with the way they sound and feel, I would put them right about here. Side buttons, they are very snappy. I think that's the best way to describe it. But they are super loud and they feel super cheap. Little to no pre-travel with a bit of post-travel towards the end. Feels like there's a lot of dampening with this scroll wheel. It's very mellow, easy to scroll, and you don't need a lot of force to it. A few of the steps while scrolling are not quite distinct and come off a little mushy. Rubber threads in the scroll wheel give a decent amount of grip, but what concerns me is that this uses soft rubber and the rubber threads are very subtle. When I first got the mouse, it looks like someone already used it, which would be a concern for gamers who plan to use this in the long term. The Paw 3950 Ultra is in a way that Pro version of the Paw 3950. The only difference is that you can fine adjust the lift-off distance with 0.1 increments in a range of 0.7 to 1.7 millimeters. And the DPI can be overclocked to reach 42,000 DPI, which is not very impressive to say the least. But on the bright side, the sensor has been performing great and I have not had problems with my time gaming on it and using the mouse throughout the day. Out of the box with the dongle in the Ultimate Edition, you can go all the way up to 8000 Hz wireless polling rate. So far with my experience using all polling rate options, it seems to work just fine as it should. And depending on your setup, use the polling rate that you feel comfortable with. For me, I enjoy using 1000 and 2000 and occasionally 8000, but it should not be something to be seen as a feature to make you perform better in games. Connectivity wise, you can use this mouse wirelessly or wired with the included USB-C cable if you decide to. Software is simple to use. You have the option of a web-based version, which is very good. It's easy to navigate and works just fine. On top of that, if you prefer to download software, they have a desktop version as well. With the software, you can reprogram buttons, create and set different DPI profiles, select the wireless polling rate, and change the various lighting effects of the 8K wireless receiver, which is pretty cool. Battery life, you can go up to 75 hours at 1000 Hz wireless polling rate. If battery life is your biggest priority, I would recommend to consider the F1 Pro Max version, and that has a 500 mAh battery, and that should give you about 150 hours at 1000 Hz, but of course at a higher mouse weight of 50 plus minus 2 grams. So in a way, I think it's good that they give gamers the option. The stock skates are not that great. They feel pretty bad with my experience, and I think the problem is the design of the skate area because they look to be quite sunken in. So I tried using some Jade Donut skates and it was a lot nicer to use, but because of the design of the skate area, bottom of my mouse still scrapes on the pad way too easily. Unless you can find thick aftermarket skates, I would not recommend to use this mouse on softer pads. Gaming performance is good, sensor has been performing just fine. I don't feel like it gives me an edge over previous generation Paw 3395s, but what's important is that it's stable, which it has been, and performing well even at 8000 Hz wireless polling rate. Overall, a nice comfortable shape with good performance with the tech that it has. So in conclusion, what are 3 things I like about this mouse? Well, maybe just one thing, and it's the shape. It's a good supportive shape in your palm and it feels very comfortable. The sides are also pretty flat so you can freely position your fingers, and the steep front end allows you to use a claw grip quite comfortably. Now, what are 3 things I feel can be improved with this mouse? First, the mouse performs fine and it has a good shape going on, but it falls short with the quality and materials of the mouse, so there is much room for improvement there. Mine honestly looks like a refurbished unit, which is unacceptable for any product. The second thing is it's not the most usable with the skate area being so deep, and also shortens the amount of time you have with stock skates and aftermarket skates as well with how low the base is. And the last thing is the switches. For Omron Opticals, it does not have the characteristics of what makes Omron Optical switches so loved among gamers. It could just be my unit, I'm not sure, but this doesn't quite cut it. But as always, these are my thoughts, personal opinions, and experiences with the mouse. Final thoughts and what I think of its value. You get the 8K wireless receiver with the Ultimate Edition, and this is the lightest version in the F1 series. So if you plan to use polling rates above 1000 Hz and you have a preference of lightweight mice, then for $90 it's not so bad. But if you already have a mouse that works just fine and close to the $100 price range, I don't feel there's a need to go for this one. Do I like it? Not really, but I don't hate it. It's just a mouse that I do not enjoy personally. This is completely personal preference and the experience may be different for you. There is something for everyone. The ATK F1 Ultimate was a mouse that I was very much looking forward to, but unfortunately to say, it's not a mouse I would recommend. It has a good shape and this edition does come with 8000 Hz out of the box, but personally I would be fine without the 8K and maybe spend a few more dollars on something else. This mouse has the potential and I hope they keep working on it because it is a pretty good shape that I imagine many people would enjoy, but for now it just doesn't feel quite there yet. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.